released in Japan nearly 14 years ago and never reached the hands of the Western audience. Even with that being the case, I knew I needed to play this game. Luckily, that was made possible by the talent behind the Earthbound fan community. I was able to experience this masterpiece to its maximum value through the Mother 3 fan translation. So here is what Mother 3 means to me. I heard about the Mother series like any other person would, through Smash Bros. But it wasn't until the SNES Classic release that I played Earthbound, and that was my first time playing any game from the Mother series, and from there, my interest in the Mother franchise grew over time. I even went as far as to write an entire video about Porky Minch that never saw the light of day, but that doesn't matter. And it wasn't until June of 2018 that my fascination of the series led me to play the fan translation of Mother 3. I'd streamed about half the game and suddenly stopped. Then it wasn't until May of 2019 that I had found the motivation to play the game again. The thought of playing the game gave me a feeling of reassurance that I needed at the time. It's hard to explain, but the game made me feel safe and confident at a time when I was rather insecure and uncertain. When I finally beat the game a few days later, I felt accomplished and I had found a drive to get myself to a better place mentally. This drive truly made me want to become a better person. The game affected me like no other game has thus far for me. And I'm here making this video so that more people can experience the game. And if need be, possibly get the same feelings of motivation and security that I once did. Before I get too far in this part, be warned of spoilers. The game's story is split into 8 chapters to separate time gaps and different segments of the game. Mother 3 is a very emotional game with so many outstanding moments, so many in fact, I can't even begin to tell you all of them, but here's a summary of this remarkable tale. The game starts with a young Lucas, our protagonist, who is visiting his grandfather with his mother Hinoa and twin brother Claus. After a series of chaotic events caused by the Pigmask army, Lucas and Claus lose their mother to one of the usually passive Dragos. The news of Hinoa's death is brought to Flint, the twins' father and Hinoa's husband. The news devastates him and sends him into an act of rage. Claus later seeks revenge on the Dragos for taking his mother's life and in turn ends up missing. From these events, Lucas was hurt, distraught, and even labeled a crybaby. But over a 3-year period, Lucas used these events that had caused him suffering to grow and become a strong and determined person. And this brings him to team with his loyal dog Boney, the tomboyish Princess Kumatora, and the aloof thief Duster, to save the world from the threats of capitalism, I mean the Pigmask army, and pull the 7 needles. The story has so many moments and lines of dialogue that just tug on your heartstrings in all the right ways. And even really unique plot twists, and especially if you played the other games, it just hits home. But for me, it's one of the most astounding and impactful stories in not just gaming, but all of media. And to top it all off, the ending is one that left me in utter shock, and on the brink of tears. There's just something about the lore and story that these characters and world have a role in, which brings me to my next point. In summary, the world of Mother 3 is funky, bizarre, strange, wacky, odd, but beautiful and amazing. The game takes place in the Nowhere Islands, which is inhabited by plenty of interesting and especially unique characters, most of which reside in the small Tasmili village. Each of the main and notable characters develop as people and become stronger, not just physically, but emotionally. As they progress through the journey, and you, as a player, become attached to these characters, their growth makes you feel like you have grown as a person. I felt like Lucas. He was weak and sad, but he grew, became stronger, felt happiness, and I felt I could do the same, become stronger and stand on my own. Outside of deep emotions, this world is filled with more minor characters that are really out there, like the Negative Man or the Mr. Saturns. And even some of the other characters, like the tall, really tall and mysterious Letter, or Wes, who is Duster's father and has some of the sickest dance moves out there. There's even a villager named Reggie, and I don't think that's just some coincidence. The world of Mother 3 was just a blast to explore, especially with its music. Oh, music! That's another transition. The music in Mother 3 is unlike no other, but that's no shocker because the composer Shoko Sakai has even composed music for Super Smash Bros. Melee and Kirby Air Ride. The soundtrack for this game is just absolutely gorgeous, with some tracks being all quirky and catchy to other tracks being intense and motivating, not to mention just hitting you right in the feels. No matter where you are in the game, the music captures the aesthetic of the location, moment, and even how the player feels perfectly, leaving an impact on the player to ingrain the moment in their brain. I can't talk about Mother 3 without mentioning the incredibly emotional love theme. It's just so beautiful and touching. Every time I listen to it, a tear comes to my eye. I always find myself listening to the soundtrack and just being completely engulfed in its musical charm. And I love the music from this game so much that I bought the Mother 3 Plus soundtrack. A bunch of the tracks in Mother 3 are references to other music, like Mr. Batty Twist is in reference to the classic Batman theme, or the theme that plays when fighting Mr. Passion sounds a lot like Beethoven's Symphony No. 5. Even the iconic Unfounded Revenge sounds a lot like Symphony No. 6 by Dmitri Shostakovich. Even if you played the game or not, I highly recommend giving the OST a listen. It's just absolutely remarkable. Mother 3 is an RPG, but it takes the old outdone RPG formula and twists it by the nipple and adds its own funky take on it. In battle, there are two unique things to the game. One being when you take damage, you don't take it all immediately. This health meter rolls down, but it goes quickly, so if one of your party members takes mortal damage, you have a chance to save them before they are incapacitated, but you need to act quickly. The other unique feature is the music combo system, where depending on how well you hit the A button, in tune with the enemy's theme, the higher the combo strings. The combat requires you to think strategically, and figure out what's the best way to attack enemies. Also, there are really neat battle backgrounds that just look super funky and totally fit with the game's themes, and the PSI moves look really cool and have some gorgeous sprite work. Outside of battle, the game has a top-down camera angle which looks great and works perfectly with its astounding sprite work. Mother 3 is iconic for its lack of a release outside of Japan, and the demand for a translation has been rabid since its release back in 2006. And the man, Reggie, who was president of Nintendo of America, was repeatedly asked if the game would come to America, and it's been a running joke for so long, even this little iconic gag from E3 2014 was born of it.
Come on, Reggie, give us Mother 3!
How about this instead?
Every time there's a Nintendo Direct, I feel a shimmer of hope that somehow we might get to see an official northern release. And until that day comes, I'm going to keep holding on to hope, because I want Mother 3 so bad. Now on to the next and final transition in this video. Playing this game has been one of the greatest experiences in my life and has made such an impact on me. And so I hope this video has inspired at least some of you to check out the game and try playing it for yourself. The link to the fan translation will be in the description below, so if some of you guys decide to play this game because of this video, please come back to this video and tell me about your Mother 3 experience. I would love to hear about it, especially if it affects you in the way it affected me, so please, give it a try. Just like Shigesato Otoy said, I wanted to make Mother 3 like a mirror that reflects the heart of the player off of the screen, which is a perfect line that reflects the tone of this game. It just means so much to talk about a game that means so much and has had such a growing influence and impact on me. So from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much for watching. Linkachu out.